crazy. This stuff goes by so fast. All right, so it's thinking about it, and we are live. All right, you guys, they actually let us go live today. So I'm gonna check and make sure because it doesn't look like it's live. So hang on just a second. Let me jump in and see if it's really, really live.
Yeah, I just received notification from YouTube. So
and it is actually live. So we're good to go. So today we're going live to YouTube, and yesterday we had to record because it was being cantankerous, and I was so busy training yesterday and on meetings that I didn't get to put the recording up. So as soon as we're done here, I'll make sure that the recording goes up for you guys so that if you want to watch the first day's replay, you can. And then if you want to watch the second days, you can as well because it's going live to YouTube. I'm also going to click record just in case because we did lose one day on the Facebook marketing. So I want to make sure that we have a backup just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and press record. And welcome to day 2 of the, what are we doing this time? We're doing the webinar platform. I had to think about it a minute. But we are working on the webinar platform. We're going to get you guys jumping in and doing some webinars with our webinar platform. Yeah, I just trained too much. That's all there is to it. There's some days I can't remember what I'm supposed to be training, like today. But I'm super excited because today we're going to jump in and we're going to look at going live on Facebook and on YouTube again. But this time we're going to look at it with inviting guest speakers. So if you want to invite someone in to be a guest speaker with you, I'm going to show you how to do that so that you can have people that are with you on your webinar. So that part is really, really cool. I will tell you that I forgot one thing yesterday, and that was that when you go live to Facebook, you have to have the app that's installed. So let's take a look at that app real quick. Give me just a second to.
App or extension?
Oh, sorry, extension. Yeah, it's a Google Chrome extension that you need. So you'll want to go live in Google Chrome because that's where you're going to have to go live to. And then you want to make sure the extension is installed. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to take a look at that because I think that was another thing that I didn't have activated. One of the things that I do is I have multiple computers and I have all of my passwords, extensions, everything synchronized across my computers. And I have one computer that I'm working on a project called the Monica Project. And I have to turn off all of the extensions because it takes up too much RAM. So when I turn it off there, it's actually turned off over here as well. So I think I had that off yesterday. But all it is this one right here, the Facebook screen sharing. And if I go to manage extension, you can see that that's the name of it, Facebook screen sharing. So all you have to do is actually go into the Google Chrome web store and find Facebook screen sharing and make sure to install that on your computer. And that will allow you to actually screen share while you are in the Builderall webinar platform and live streaming to Facebook. So if you don't install that, you won't be able to screen share. And you want to make sure that when you screen share, it is actually active as well. One of the things that I do, of course, to save RAM and to save resources on my computer is actually turn off all of my extensions that I don't normally use. And Facebook screen sharing, I'm only going to use that when I'm doing a live webinar. So I typically turn that off. And then before I go live, I turn it back on to make sure that I have that available to screen share. So that was part of some of the issue that we had yesterday. But the other one was I was having issues with my webcam as well. So let's see if we can go in today and see if we can do a live stream to Facebook and to YouTube. We'll do all the same things that we did do, but we're going to add a couple of guest speakers in with us. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my dashboard, and I'm going to go to webinar, and I'm going to enter my webinar. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and go to that recurring webinar that we created together. Let me kind of move you guys out of the way here. There we go. And we'll go all the way down to the bottom, just like this. And there's the one that we created yesterday. It's the same exact one. And I'm just going to click edit to go into it again. And I can reuse this as many times as I want to for going live. So I just go to content and then I go to open. And it's going to open that window. I still have not figured out why exactly it opens this blank window, except for the fact that you have to go to YouTube and you have to go to Facebook to be able to get your RTMP URL and key. So maybe they're just being nice and opening up a window for you. I don't know. But when you go back to the webinar, it has the information that you need right here. So we're going to go to RTMP, and then we can choose to stream to the YouTube account or customize it to YouTube and Facebook. So I'm just going to go ahead and stream to Facebook, and we'll do it on my profile again. So I'm just going to go into my profile, and I'm going to do live video. And then from here, remember, I'm going to click connect. And I've got my RTMP, so I'm going to copy the URL and then go in here and paste it. And then I'm going to go back and copy the stream key. And Chip, I think it was you that said use a persistent stream key. And it says this can be reused every time you go live. You can only broadcast one live video at a time with your persistent stream key. So if you click on this, it's going to give you forever the same stream key. And that's actually really good. I've never used that. I just always go in and get the stream key brand new. But you can stream, you can get a permanent stream key and then put it into your notepad. And that way all you got to do is open it up and get it every time. So either way, if you want to do the persistent stream key or you want to jump in and get it in Facebook, you kind of have to do it anyway. So it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You do it how it makes you feel most comfortable. But I'm going to go in and get that stream key and then paste it in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and click, I'm going to invite participants. And then I'm going to check the server. And right now the server load is 0%. So the servers are not strained. There's not a ton of people on it. If the server load was a percentage like 25%, 30%, that would be enough for me to change to maybe USA 2 to see what the server load was there. And if that was full, I might go to Brazil and see if the server load was okay there. You want to make sure that you're not using a server that the server load is being really used and hit a lot, because that's going to cause issues, especially if you're inviting people to your room. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm inviting participants, and then I'm going to click Open Streaming Tool, and I'm going to put my name, Shelly Builderall Diva Turner, and log in. And I don't have any video, so let's see if I can add my video here. And it's still not reading my second video. So I'm not sure why it's not reading it, but it's, having issues. But anyway, now I can actually choose to invite participants. And if you look, I've got an invite button right here. So I can click this and it gives me a link. And I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and I'm going to paste it into one of our Facebook groups. So let me go over here, Facebook, and we'll see if we can get a live person to jump in and actually participate. So Builderall English. There we go. And we'll just get a random person, you guys. Let's see if we can get someone to hop in. So I am doing a live training. Would you like to jump in and be a guinea pig? Jump on in. All right, so let's see if we can get a live person to come in. So I'm going to post right there. And now we'll just wait a couple minutes to see if somebody jumps in. And I'm going to go over here to this screen and go close. And now we'll just wait until somebody will jump in. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to click Start Webinar. And I have to do that with Facebook so I can actually start it on Facebook as well. So once that RTMP URL and key is read by Facebook, it says, okay, now you can go live. So I'm just going to say just testing and go live. And so now we're actually going live to Facebook, and we're waiting on somebody to jump in and become a participant in our group. So let's see if we can see if anybody's jumping in.
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Did you just push the go live button while you were on the connect screen, or did you have to first click the camera button? And
nope,
then
I clicked
go
go
live.
live. I clicked go live here first, and then I went to Facebook and clicked go live on Facebook.
So on Facebook, there were the two tabs. The connect tab to the right and to the left was a camera tab.
Yes.
And I thought my go live button in the bottom right was grayed until I shifted from connect to camera. But I don't think that's what I just saw.
No, I just stay on the connect screen.
Okay.
I'm not sure why yours was giving you grief. So you can see that John is actually working on connecting and Darren's working on connecting. So they are currently working on coming into the meeting. And then once they come in, we can actually add them. Then we got Felicity. Yay, Felicity's coming in. And remember, we can have a maximum of 6. So we've got 3 already. There's Felicity. Look at Felicity. Yay. Hey, Felicity. My video is not working. Hopefully you can see me, but what I'm doing is I'm doing a live training on my boot camp. So I've got my video in Zoom and my other video is not working for over here. So that's why you can't see me, but hopefully you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm
Awesome.
going to put my video off.
Okay.
Is this day 2 of your webinar training?
It is, and you are participating as our guinea pig, so welcome.
Thank you, because I was trying to get on yesterday, but I didn't know where to find it.
Ah, I see. So here's what we've got going on. On Felicity, I can click on her, and I can send her to the mainstream. I can mute her or unmute her, or if she just really ticks me off and says that my mama wears combat boots, I can kick her all the way out. But I wouldn't dare do that to Felicity. She's too sweet. So any one of those, any one of those we could do.
Ireland if you do that.
We are headed that direction, Felicity. We're coming probably in early 2020. We're planning our trip now.
That's perfect.
Yep, we're excited about it. So we've got Darren and we've got John. And each one of those, it looks like they're still working on bringing their video in. And then we've got Gary. He's working on bringing his video in. So you guys can see how each one of these can actually go to that link and join the video, join the live. And what happens is then I can choose to add them. They're probably having trouble coming in though, because video takes a lot of space, a lot of bandwidth. And if there we go, we've got Nick and we've got Gary. This is great. Hey guys, you can't see me. I'm sorry. I'm actually on Zoom along with this at the same time. So Zoom has my camera right now. So that's why you guys can't see me. But you guys are guinea pigs for the webinar platform. We're doing a boot camp on the webinar platform right now. And I'm showing them how to use the webinar platform to go live on Facebook and how to bring in guest speakers so that you guys can appear along with me. So you guys can see each one of these people. And then on the triple dots, I can do a picture in a picture, which is really cool. And then when I close that, we go back to here. I can mute each one of these guys. I can boot them if I want to, which I don't want to because I'm glad everybody's here. And you can see how easy it is to actually bring these guest speakers in and get them added and have them as guest speakers on your webinar. So it's actually very, very easy to do. I've also got a button here where I can do a show split screen or show participant. So I'm going to show split screen. That's what we've got going. Then I'm going to show participant. And it says click here over the participant to put him on the stream. So let's see if we can Felicity send to mainstream. And there's Felicity, even though she's got a dark screen, she's actually showing on the screen now. And Nick will send him to the mainstream. And now it's Nick that's actually showing individually instead of the split screen. And so I can show Nick and have him highlighted and like go back here and actually do show split screen again, and it will split screen everybody. So I can highlight a certain speaker. Let's say that Nick was one that I wanted him to speak, only being the only one on the screen because we wanted to highlight him. Again, all I have to do is go to the gear and send him to the main screen, and he gets the full screen of what's going on. And then once he's done, we want to bring in the whole crew again. We just go back here and show split screen. And that's actually really easy to do. So we can highlight speakers. We can do all kinds of neat stuff to show off our guest speakers. So now that I've got Nick and Felicity and John all here, do you guys have any questions along with our boot campers on how to do live streaming? I think Nick is talking, but we've got like a squirrel type voice, which is absolutely hilarious. So I'm not sure why it's a squirrel type voice, but mine does that every once in a while too. So no worries on that. Let me go ahead and get the link to this meeting so that you guys can actually jump into the live meeting. Nick, you're getting your earphones. Okay. I'm going to get this live meeting link. So I'm going to stop sharing for just a second on the boot camp. And let me get Willie in here and YDM in here. And I'll get the invite link. And we'll invite these guys to come on the Zoom with us. So hang on just a second while I invite them, you guys. So here we go. The URL. And join us on Zoom. There we go. All right. So everybody that's in the live stream, if you guys want to join us on Zoom, you're absolutely welcome to, because I'm going to actually close up the webinar platform on Facebook, and we're going to jump in to take a look at how we can do this exact same thing on YouTube as well. So if you guys would like to join us, I put the link in that Facebook post where I put the link to the live webinar. And if you'd like to join us on the Zoom, you absolutely can, and we'll continue teaching how to use the webinar platform. Okay, Nick? All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the live video, so I will see you guys later. But here we go, we'll end live. And end. All right, that was fabulous. And remember, you guys, after each Facebook Live, you can click done, and it will actually add it to your timeline or add it to the group that you're in. Or you can click delete video, and it will just delete the video and not show the replay. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the video for this one because we really don't need it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is actually go live to YouTube and do the same thing. So I'm just going to close this up. And all I do here, again, is just close the window. It's that easy. And then all I need to do is put the new live stream RTMP in for YouTube. So go here. Again, oops, close the window. There we go. And I'm just going to go to my live area. So YouTube beta. And we'll let that load. And then other features and live stream. And then here, I'll grab my RTMP URL. Right there. And we'll add that here. And then the next one is, let me move this out of the way. There we go. The stream key, which is right here. And then we'll add it right where my Facebook is at. Nope. Right here. There we go. And then we'll go open streaming tool. And I'll put my name in again. There we go. Log in. And now we have the same exact thing, guys. And you can see that. Oops. Here we go. You can see that I'm connected the same way. Felicity was actually already connected to that website, so she's actually still connected. So I could actually send her to the mainstream or send her to the split screen. And all I do again is do start webinar, and that starts the live stream to YouTube. And if I go on to YouTube, it should show me as starting live. So right here we go. It's yellow, which means that the stream health is not really good. The connection's not really good. So that might be my internet connection that's giving a little bit of grief. But you can see that I'm live, and I can put Felicity on the webinar. So if I go to the stream tool right here, and I go right here and send her to the main stream, she's actually going to be the main one on that video, even though she doesn't have her video on. But she should actually start showing in just a second on the live stream because I made her the main video. So here we go. There we go. Oh, and we're already we're actually already live streaming, so I think that's why it's giving us grief. But because we're already doing live streaming on YouTube, so it won't let us live stream twice. So that's what's going on, and this is actually great that you got to see this because it's not going to live stream twice because I'm already using the RTMP settings for Zoom. So that's how we do this with Facebook and with YouTube to be able to invite. And remember that the invite button appears here, but it's only going to appear here if you make sure in your settings that you check mark, I'm going to invite participants. And that tells the system to put that invite button on there so you can actually invite guest speakers to participate in the live. Now, I want you to notice that with us doing the live, the server load went up to about 0.3%. So you can see that just getting a few speakers actually increases that server load. So there's going to be times when this webinar platform is used by someone that wants to do a huge webinar. And when you do that, the load actually goes pretty heavy for the server. So anything that's 25 to 30% on a load for a server, you want to just pick a different server so you don't slow down what they're doing. And you want to keep yours actually running and going as well. Okay, so let me stop sharing and take a look at you guys. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in the people that jumped in, which is great. Hold on just a second. All right. As Matthew McConaughey says, all right. All right, any questions, you guys? All right, Gabriel and then Tyree.
Yeah, hi, Shelly. Is the server being affected if we have only participants or if we have, what do you call it?
Attendees?
Attendees, right.
Yeah, it's gonna hit them no matter what. But if you have participants, it's gonna hit it heavy because it's having to process video coming in and then process video going out. So it hits it real heavy if there's participants for sure.
So if it's only the presenter and I have 30 attendees, it should be better?
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Okay.
So if you're doing it individual, where you're not bringing guest speakers in, it's a lot less work on that server, and it's okay. Where the work happens is when it's having to process those video packets coming in and then sending them out as well, and it's doing it for 6 people, actually 7 if you count you. So it's a pretty big load on any server. And with ours, just look at those numbers. And if those numbers are 25 to 30% or more, then just switch to a second server or the third server. And that way you won't slow them down and you won't slow yourself down. Okay?
Yeah, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah. Tyree?
Hello and hello.
Hi.
Sorry, I missed yesterday. I was getting ready to get on when I was training, and at 10:30, I had a grandson that was born, and right when I was set to get on our training, he decided after 2 days he wanted to come. So I missed yesterday.
That's a great reason to miss.
So I'll be looking for that training because I want to watch that from yesterday whenever it's posted. My question is, when you just went live I saw what you did on Facebook. I saw what you did on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Now with YouTube in the beta testing area, it went live. When you went live, it looked like, I guess it's like using an encoder, using our webinar live stream like an encoder. Would it be like that? Because any other time I could not go live on that particular page that you were on.
When you go live to YouTube, you're going to use the RTMP code.
Yes.
And it's the URL and the key. And so you need those 2 things that you get from your live stream area, and that's all you need. You put those into the webinar platform, and then you click go live, and shazam, you go straight live to YouTube.
Right, and I saw it went live on that YouTube screen. And any other time, whenever I try to go live with YouTube, it wouldn't do that. And I noticed that that was a different operation versus going live straight through YouTube instead of using our platform. But at the same time, with our platform, if I'm correct, I saw that we had more control and had more clarity of what was going on.
Well, the biggest thing that's different about it is when you use Zoom to go live to Facebook and YouTube, you're able to flip-flop between the screen sharing and talking head, right? But if you choose to go live to Facebook using just their go live and the camera, you have to choose either camera or desktop, but you can't do both. So what our platform does is allows you to flip-flop back and forth between desktop sharing and talking head for Facebook. And you can also do the same thing for YouTube. So it's very Zoom-like in what it can do as far as allowing you to flip-flop between talking head and desktop sharing. And then, of course, it has the whiteboard as well. So if you're artistically inclined, not like me, then you can actually draw out things and just kind of give a visual of some of the things that you're explaining by using that whiteboard that shows up whether you go live to Facebook or YouTube as well.
And that was going to be my third question that you just covered with the whiteboard, because David, King George, and I have been working with this about 3 weeks ago, getting familiar with the platform, and we discovered that it did have a whiteboard. Now, I know that was not an accident, but at the same time, and you explaining what we can do, going live through YouTube with it, and doing it, then, whether we have Zoom or not. I right now, I like our webinar platform better. Zoom,
oh yeah, I love it. The only thing that is holding us back from using it as a company is this right here. If you guys notice, I can have all of you guys online at the same time, and you can jump in and ask your questions. And right now, our webinar platform can only handle 6. So once our webinar platform gets beefed up a little bit more so that we can handle more participants, then that's the last piece of the puzzle to flip from Zoom back or over to the webinar platform to do all of our trainings. I would love to do the trainings on our webinar platform, but then I don't get the interaction that I get here because everybody gets to participate with Zoom, right?
Okay, and that was my other question. You're so awesome, you're ahead of me. Because I was going to ask about in the future, are there any thoughts about adding more people, and you just answered that. So
yep, they are. And some would say, Tyree, that I'm psychic, and others would say that I'm psycho. It's just we haven't figured out which one.
And my last question for right now is that when we use our platform, I know we have 6 presenters, a max of 6 presenters we can add in, but is there a limit to how many viewers that can watch us? Because I know the viewers that are watching us can communicate in the webinar chat that we attach, but I didn't know there would be a certain amount of number before it would become before the webinar would become maxed out.
No, there's no limit to the number of viewers. So you can have as many viewers as you want. If you want 100, 200, 300, 400. Our webinar platform has supported 400 attendees before. So it is just tremendous in what it can do as far as attendees. And then, of course, we're still working on the participant part of it to see if we can increase that. And like I said, as soon as we get to increase it like what Zoom has, forget about Zoom. I will forget I ever knew about Zoom.
And what I like about it is that because of the amount of attendee viewers we can have, we don't get there's no additional charge to extra viewers for for a certain amount. So I like that, and right now I know that I can use this for training a team, even if it's just still 6 people that can be viewed, but yet the chat gives the interaction. So when we do bump up to where we have unlimited interactors, that'd be great. But for right now, I am loving this deal. And no additional charge.
That's right. We like that here at Builderall. We like that unlimited. We like that, and we like no additional charge. We love both of those phrases. So we're gonna keep with that idea.
Well, even with the evergreen, when you use that, then you would still have like the chat bot working, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we'll be talking more about the chat bot. Maybe not today. We'll probably do an example. I've already got a webinar set up, but I want to test it to make sure it's all working for you guys so that you guys can see exactly how the chat bot works, because it is flipping awesome. It's really, really cool. So I can't wait to show you that in its entirety. Any more questions about what we covered just now with going live and inviting the participants? Great, go ahead.
My question is more centered around like the chat part of it. So when you went to go launch and go live using the webinar tool, from that particular screen, first off, I think when I went live yesterday or this morning on Facebook, because I wasn't showing up correctly on that screen, I was kind of worried that I wasn't broadcasting, and I was kind of broadcasting distorted, which it turned out not to be the case. It turned out to be broadcasting fine. But as far as the chat option, when you have it added to like a particular page on your website and people go in there to chat, when you set up the video to go live, can you see the chat there, or do you have to have your website page open to kind of see the chat going on?
You can do the chat there where you open up the website and you're answering the questions as you go, right? So you're actually physically there with them, watching the webinar with them and looking at the chat. Or you can set it up so that it's connected to your chat bot, so that when they do ask a question, you don't have to be there. You can actually respond back to them through the chat bot, and it will look like you're there physically with them and interacting and engaging, but you're sitting on the beach sipping a Mai Tai, which is fabulous.
But in the webinar tool part where you have the 6 different participants, you know, from Builderall, was there that, could you see the running chat going on that particular screen? Okay. That's what I wasn't sure of. Okay.
All right, any other questions, you guys? So I do have a question for you guys. Were you able to go live yesterday to either Facebook or YouTube or both? And let me know what your experience was. George went both. That is fantastic. George, you get 2 star stickers right there.
Yeah, right here.
That's right. Did you find it easy, hard? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, the instructions were very clear. When something did not work, I went through it again and found my mistake and fixed it. So it's impressive how clear everything is. But the other thing that struck me was I did this around 8 or 9 a.m. You know, a 30-second video in each, and I got feedback. People emailing me or, you know, coming on site saying, great, you know.
Yep.
I was totally blown away.
Yeah, and prepared to continue to be blown away with that, because like we said yesterday, when you go live, it's just almost irresistible for people to pass by without just jumping in and taking a peek. And if you can get them to jump in and take a peek, there's a good chance you might get their attention long enough for them to pay attention to what you're actually talking about, which is way better than just dumping a pre-recorded video up there, or dumping an image up there, or even just dumping a text post. So you can see already the power of this live that you can do, whether you're going live to your own profile, or there are some groups that will let you go live inside the groups. You just have to make sure that you have permission. Now that's a tricky one, because different groups have different permissions. So when you join Facebook groups, the first thing you need to do is make sure you're reading their information to see what their rules are of the group. But if you are allowed to go live in there, then for heaven's sakes, do lives. But don't do spammy lives, right? Don't do spammy lives, because then when you go live, the people in that group are going to go, they're just being spammy. I'm not even going to watch. I already know them already. You want to give value. So be really excited about what you're talking about. And if you're talking about underwater basket weaving and how to do that when the lake is frozen, which is like a big deal, then you want to be excited about underwater basket weaving when the lake is frozen. I mean, who knew you could do that? So those are the types of things that you want to make sure that you're doing, is you're keeping your excitement up. You're talking about something that's valuable to the people in that group, And if you can do that, you're going to catch their attention. And then maybe at the end, oh, by the way, I actually have an underwater basket weaving course on Builderall, and I can teach you how to put your courses on Builderall. If you're interested, just private message me or leave me a message on this post, and I'll get back with you with a 7-day free trial, no credit card needed. It's that simple, you guys. And if you're having fun, you're excited, you're giving value inside that live, they're going to respond. It's just a matter of who. They absolutely will respond. And I'm excited, George, that you saw that, because that's my experience too. When I jump into the live groups and I do a live video, whether it's my talking head or one of the ones that I'm getting really good feedback from is the virtual diva. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that's my little cartoon character thing that's in virtual reality. And that gets thousands of views. I'm actually stunned how many views that one gets. So going live, I know firsthand definitely makes a difference. So you want to take advantage of that. The other side of the coin is YouTube. Anytime you go live to YouTube, when you stream live, that means that video is going to rank better. The algorithm just likes the live streams. So if you can live stream it, you're going to get better rankings for your videos. You're going to get seen. And then the key to that one is making sure you've got the information in your description so they can find out more. And always make sure in your description, if you have a link in there, that it's a fully qualified domain name, meaning that you put the http:// and then the domain. If you don't put the HTTP in front of it, it's not going to be clickable. And they'll have to highlight it, copy, and then paste. But if you put the HTTP in front of it, it will be clickable and they won't have to highlight it. They can just click right on it. Okay? So that's a really important tip and trick. All right, anybody else that went live that would like to share their experience? Wait, don't everybody answer at once.
I would.
There we go. I think my internet went crazy for a second. My internet had a brain fart, but Chip, go ahead.
One of the things that I discovered was that there are variations in the setup between a Facebook profile, page, and group.
Yes.
And that may account for why I had some difficulty along the way. What ended up happening a couple of times is I successfully got live to Facebook and to YouTube, but it didn't seem to be taking within Builderall. And I'm not quite sure why. I sent you an error message, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I've never seen that error message before. I did take a look at it, and we'd have to recreate it to see if I could figure out what it meant. I think based on what it said was that when you put the RTMP URL and key in there, it has to have time to be able to read it before you go live. And if you do everything too fast, which I've done that a few times, so I've click, boom, let's go live. And I just messed up the whole thing. It was just like, oh my God, Shelly, you didn't give me time to think about it. I can't go live. I can't do it. So you do have to kind of slow down a little bit and let everything connect in its own time. Also, when you do connect, there's a delay. So you're looking at it on your page. And if you're actually looking at it in like a split screen and looking at it live, there's like a 5 to 10 second delay. And if you've got your audio on, it'll really mess you up because you're hearing yourself talk like 5 to 10 seconds delayed. So you like stumble over your words. Right. So usually what I do is once I go live, I mute the live version and then only look at the inside what the webinar is inside Builderall. So I watch that version and then mute the live version. So I don't have that confusion going on of the delay. And that's in Facebook and YouTube.
I'll keep trying.
Keep trying. If it doesn't work, let's jump on Zoom together and see if we can figure it out, okay?
Okay.
All right, anybody else that had some experience with going live? No? Okay. Your homework tonight is to go live again. All right, that's your homework again. I'm telling you this, and I want you to go live because you're going to get results. You're going to absolutely get results. People love to jump in and check and see what's going on live, whether it's YouTube or Facebook. They love to just peek. To me, it's almost like a train wreck where they just got to watch. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it, but I got to see it. Oh my gosh, okay, I got to see it, right? And to me, it's almost like that. They just can't resist it, even though they're not even sure why they're watching sometimes. So definitely try that going live. And George, I think, has caught the bug, which is fabulous, because once you realize how this works, then it's like, holy crap, I need to go live like every day. This is great. So definitely try it out, get that bug, and it will increase your exposure and you will get results. Gabriel?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what is the difference between the going here with Zoom and going live versus using the webinar, what we're trying to do here, you know, because I see you went live already on YouTube through Zoom right here, correct?
Right. And I use Zoom when I'm doing this kind of presentation where I want a bunch of people on there. But if I'm just doing like a straight live to Facebook, I can use the webinar platform and not use Zoom. I pay for Zoom, so I'm going to use it no matter what. But for that person that doesn't necessarily have $500 or $550 per year for the webinar version of Zoom, it's really expensive. They can use Builderall's webinar platform, and they can go live to Facebook. They can go live to YouTube. They can do webinars. They can create evergreens. There's a lot they can do. The only thing they're really limited on is the number of speakers they can have included in their webinar.
So, because I'm using Zoom, I have a Zoom account, but I'm using the free version, so I can do can't I just do the webinar and just one-to-many, but have them log into YouTube or Facebook to watch it, and I don't have to, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't have to have any participants, just viewers, right?
You can also use the free one, Shelley, as long as you don't go more than 40 minutes.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, but there's a flaw in that. Let me tell you the flaw. If you go, sorry, my internet's messing up again, you guys. All right, am I back?
Yeah.
You're back.
Okay, here's the flaw in that thinking. And why do I know it's a flaw? Because I made this mistake. So let's say you go live with a person on Zoom, okay? And then you just go live to Facebook and do a screen share, right? That seems like that would work. But what happens is the audio from the person that you're live with does not pass through, so they can't hear the person that you're on the Zoom with. I actually did this. I was really excited. I was like, I figured out a way to use Zoom the free way, right? So I was like, no worries, we'll do a webinar. It'll be great. So we did a webinar. We had like 100 and some people on this webinar. And I actually was the one that opened the Zoom so they could hear me fine, but the other person, they couldn't hear her at all. And I had to actually turn up the speakers, and I didn't have external speakers to put them close to the microphone so they could actually hear her, because her audio was not passing through. So that's the problem that you have if you use Zoom and you're using the free one, and then you just try to go to Facebook and screen share, is they'll capture you because you're the one that started the Facebook, but the audio won't pass through for the person that's on the Zoom.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, it's a different platform, and there's different, you know, pros and cons.
Right. And the only way to fix that would be to actually have external speakers that you can put near your microphone to make sure that person could be heard. And that would be the only way to fix that. And I think I'm frozen again, you guys. My internet's just being really tricky today. So let me see if I can close some things there. All right, I think I'm back. But that's the only way you could fix it, is if you had external speakers and you put it by the microphone, and that way they could hear that person, but it would still be like it was in a can. And because you're putting a speaker by a microphone, it could be really bad feedback. So it's just not a good solution at all. Okay. All right, Tyree, go ahead.
Yes, it was one other thing. One other question. The other week we were talking about going live mobile, and we know we can go live mobile with Facebook. I found that I can go live mobile with my phone on YouTube straight from my phone. They, for whatever reason, they put that live YouTube mobile app back on my phone. My question is, I know I can go live with Zoom also on my phone. Can we use our webinar feature in Builderall to go live mobile to do a webinar?
I would say it's highly doubtful because I think the power that it needs would be difficult to manage on a phone. Plus, I don't think it's shrunk enough to have good controls.
Okay, well, I love what I have now. I mean, the price, the function, the control, everything. I'm just all Builderall up. You know.
Yep. I think that's on the agenda to fix, but that's probably version 52, because they definitely want to get more speakers and a better pass through of the video and audio. So there's, I think, a lot that they're working on to optimize it before they actually make it mobile friendly. But I do believe that's on the list of things to do for the webinar.
Well, I am Groovy great because everyone had, you know, it has been beneficial, I see, for everyone to have an avatar with Builderall's name included. And as you mentioned, in the future, there may come a time where we can't use Builderall.
That's right.
But if I have a name that's spelled that way it can present a message like Builderall, I have now, because Builderall has become a part of me. It's in me. I am now using avatar to Builderall blogger.
Oh,
so
that's great.
This is going to, as they make progress, this gives me information to blog about, because right now I can't truthfully say of any other marketing platform that has its own webinar system and that especially works in the way that this one does. And when I mentioned earlier about price, Shelley, I had different webinar systems that I had shopped around that I had used. And what we have now, even the webinar system that come with a nice monthly cost, they can't measure up to Builderall.
Right.
And I am loving this.
Right. Yes. Zoom actually by itself is about $55, I think, per month. And if you remember, you only get Zoom. So when we pay $70 a month, we're getting the webinar platform. And there's still some things that are in Zoom that we're waiting on getting in Builderall, but we still get a heck of a webinar platform along with everything else. So the price is definitely really, really, really good. For what we get, and for the entry-level person like George is just coming in, George may not want to do a webinar that has 52 guest speakers on it. He may not be ready for that yet, but he may be ready to go live and actually do some Facebook Lives, YouTube Live, and do some webinars on his own that he can do. So George says, I did 2 of them already. So yeah.
So this means, yes, I'm going to keep doing them.
Good. That's fabulous. And don't forget to tag me. If you do one on Facebook, tag me and I'll jump on if I'm online. Okay.
Shelley, I've been backing up a lot of my stuff on Google Cloud, and I don't know how many videos that I've done that I did live on YouTube. And I was trying to, and I guess I wanted to do live on Facebook and never could quite. So this works out good to get on Facebook.
Fabulous. And when you go live, Davida, make sure to tag me so I can jump in there and say howdy and torch you why you are live. Because that's like our favorite thing teachers like to do is torture our students. I mean, teach our students, right? So tag me so I can do that.
One other thing, Shelley, with our webinar system, I heard you mention earlier about the evergreen function of it. And I know that with the evergreen function, we can have a live chat 24 hours a day with that.
That's right.
Now, my other question is, say, since Davida mentioned videos that she's backed up, can we take other videos and use that link to put in the webinar system and treat it as an evergreen in that way?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to definitely be showing you how to do that in the next 3 days. So
oh, great.
Ready. It's going to be incredible. We've got so much to do.
You know, you're blowing my mind. Come on, now, just please. If we could do 3 days inside of one, I think I'll just boom, blow up.
I know, right? And I'm the same way. If I could do just 24-hour teaching, I would be so happy. I do have one question for you, Tyree, though. Is that a Snuggie that you have right there?
Yes.
I have that same exact Snuggie, the same exact one. That's how I knew that, because I love my Snuggie. It is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world. And I have that exact color. So prepare to be amazed. When it starts to get a little colder here, I will have that bad boy out and I will be snuggling in my Snuggie, same as you.
Where are you that it's so cold?
I'm in Houston, but I live with some Eskimos here, and they 70 degrees, so I'm cold.
I was gonna say, it's getting a little chilly here in New York, but not ready for that.
Well,
yeah, it's not anywhere near that here in Mississippi either. We're still having 90 and 95 degree weather. So
actually, I had to put socks on this morning because it was actually, it felt like fall.
Wow, I'm coming to New York for sure.
Come visit me.
I need to.
Yeah, well, I'm in Florida, and you get the humidity and right now we're getting off the coast the potential hurricane.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take you through. Oh, go ahead, Chip. Go ahead.
When I finished one of the lives yesterday, I was not happy with the beginning and the end of it. I wanted to trim those, so I imported it into Screencast-O-Matic, and the sync was way off.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was an issue with the recording or if it was an issue with Screencast-O-Matic, because I'm having a huge issue with Screencast-O-Matic right now with syncing, and it does that stutter thing.
Yeah.
So it's like right. So check and make sure. I just did an update today with Screencast-O-Matic and did a real quick video, and it looked like it might have fixed the problem, but double check it and make sure. And then I'll check a recording. I'll do a recording off the webinar as well and see if it does that syncing problem. I haven't had a problem with the syncing before, but I'll still double check it and see. Okay.
And it adds captions, which I thought was terrific. So I'd love to put it back up with captions.
Yeah, that is fabulous. I'll definitely check that out because I missed that.
One thing I wanted to say, I've been going back over some of my podcasts that I did 12 years ago, and it's just uncanny how back then I was talking about working on the internet and working from home, and how far advanced it's come and how it's become so common now, and just how important Builderall and its tools are to what people are doing now.
Right, and I think you bring up a really good point, Davida, because what we have at our fingertips with this Facebook Live and YouTube Live, it's so incredibly powerful. And if you let it slip through your fingers, you're missing out on a really good tool to get yourself out there, get your products, your business, your brand out there, or even just to promote Builderall, get it out there. We didn't have this just a few years ago. We didn't have something this simple. And now we've got this available literally at the touch of our fingers. So we want to make sure that we're incorporating that somehow into what we're doing with our business. Even if it's just going live to Facebook once a week, this doesn't have to be an everyday thing. And then once a week to YouTube. Plus, if you go live to Facebook or if you go live to YouTube, there are ways to pull that video off. And then you can edit it in something like Screencast-O-Matic, put an intro onto it, an outro onto it, and then throw it up there on a blog or throw it up onto Facebook or even do it as an evergreen, however you want to do it. So those extensions are out there to be able to do that. And I have several that I use to pull YouTube videos off and to pull Facebook videos off. Tyree?
Okay, I'm glad you said that. I know you're going to show us later on in the week, but to make sure I heard you clearly, I know that you showed us how we can pull a YouTube video off of YouTube. And it used to be where I could pull one off of Facebook, and I can't now. So with what we have with Builderall, if we live stream through Builderall, is there a way we'll be able to pull that video off like that?
You can't record because you're live streaming and you're live streaming straight to Facebook, but there is a extension. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'll see if I can find that extension. So I'll go to here. and then go to my extensions. Here we go.
Shelley, it's called GetVid. GetFvid.com.
I have a different one that works better, and it is a video downloader for Facebook right here. Video downloader for Facebook. And if you'll notice, guys, I want you to pay attention to what I've got going on right here. You see how all of these are turned off? These are things that I rarely use. I just don't use them very much. So I keep them turned off so that my computer runs better. It doesn't suck up all the bandwidth and suck up all the processor power. So this is turned off, but if there's a video that I want to download on Facebook, I just turn it on, and then I go to the video that's in Facebook, and there'll be a little button that appears right on the video that says download, and I just click download, and then I can choose what resolution I want, and then it'll download straight to my computer. And it does it very, very quickly. So definitely check that extension out. It is, let me tell you the name of it again. Video Downloader for Facebook is the name of it. So write that down for sure, and access that in the Google Chrome web store. Great, Tyree. And that'll help you download the videos. And it is extremely efficient. It does extremely well. It is a high quality video that it downloads. And then you can package it up after that however you want to. So you can import it into Screencast-O-Matic, and you can put an intro on it, an outro on it. You can put bubbles on it, little chat windows on it, whatever you want to do in Screencast-O-Matic, and then save it and throw it up onto YouTube or put it onto a blog or something like that.
Shelley, I was trying to figure that out in Screencast-O-Matic. How do I add an intro and outro or a little video in the middle of something that I want to put in there?
You can either do it as create a new video, and it'll let you record a new video, or if you have a pre-made intro that's an MP4, you just import add a new video file.
And how do you put it into a certain space?
You just put the cursor where you want to add it.
Okay.
It's really, really, really easy. Actually, when I did the training on YouTube, I think I actually showed how to add the video in there, because I showed how I add my intro and how I add my outro.
Okay, so I'll find that training. Sorry about that dog.
That's okay. We love dogs. We like to teach them about Builderall too.
Well, we just call her the incredible barking dog, so.
And you know that if you have dogs on your thumbnails and in your video, dogs and children get you more clicks. I swear it. I swear up and down. All right, you guys, I'm going to jump into the settings for the webinar really quick. And we're going to fly through how to set up a brand new webinar as if we were creating a brand new webinar. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the setup. And then tomorrow we're going to set up an official webinar. And you're going to see how it'll go live and how we can see the chat and how we can see the chat bot and how it works. But we're going to talk about the settings today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And Michael, it's great to see you with your doggy. All right, so let me share my screen here. And we'll go here. Yay. And all I do is go into the webinar platform. And I'm going to close this webinar since we're done. And ooh, I earned money, so that's fabulous. And now we're just going to start a brand new webinar. We're going to talk a little bit about these settings that we have to do. So here I am in the webinar screen. I'm going to go to new webinar. And I'm going to name it. So we'll just call this Boot Camp Webinar. And we'll do the same thing for the description. And then I don't want to protect it with a password, but if you were doing a webinar that they needed a password to be able to get in and see it, you could actually set it up so that you have to give them the password or they ain't getting in. But I'm going to leave that unchecked for now, and I'm going to do create webinar. And what that does is it throws it into my webinar list, and I just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. And my webinar platform is freaking out on me. So let's go ahead and refresh. Refresh.
That's what I was getting yesterday. It just kept looping.
Yeah, refresh is just a friend of yours, just to make sure to refresh if something like that happens. So I don't see the webinar that I just made, so we'll just make it again. So I'll go new webinar, and we'll call it Boot Camp Webinar. And we'll copy and paste and create webinar. And there we go. Now it's actually created the webinar for me. And now I can go in and do several settings. So we'll go through each one of these just to take a look and see what they all do. So first of all, in the Edit Webinar tab, we can edit the name and the description. And then if you have a live link that you want to set up, you can actually put the link in there. Once it's recorded, if you have the link to the recording, you can actually put that in there. You've got your email signature. This is where you can put your name. So I'm going to say Shelly Turner. And we'll do Shelly Builderall Diva Turner. And why is this important? Because if you're going to send out email reminders, you can actually have your email signature in there. Protect with password, you have another opportunity to check that if you want to. And then the date format, we're in the US, but you can also choose to use the European date format. I'll stick with US because I can never
back up. Could you back up to live link and recorded link? What would you put there under what circumstances?
If you've got a live link to your webinar, like you've got it on YouTube, then you can put that link right there. This is like after you, this is part of creating an evergreen.
And same thing for the recorded, you gotta go somewhere and pick that up, or you're coming back after you recorded and you're getting the link from whatever it's stored at.
Correct. Both of these are after you've done your webinar, and you've got the link available. You can actually click right there. And this is for when those emails go out, right? When we send those mailing blast emails out, we want to make sure that we have, if we want to send them to the live version, then we're going to have a link there. That would be, the live link here would actually be the page where the live webinar is going to be. And then the recorded link is where the recording is going to be. So whatever page the live version is going to be at, whatever page the recorded version is going to be at. Let me look at your eyeballs to make sure you got that. Because what happens is Mailing Boss sends out emails, and it will send out emails. I see those eyeballs, Michael. It sends out emails to say, hey, don't forget, you've got a live webinar coming up on Tuesday at noon. Here's the link to go to the live webinar. And that's going to be the link that takes them to the page where that live webinar is going to be. Okay. And then after the webinar, there's going to be a link that takes them to where the recorded part is going to be. So you want to put that page in there so that when after the webinar that email goes out, it's going to say, hey, do you want to rewatch it or did you miss it the first time? Here's the link of where the replay is going to be. So those two links are actually really, really important because if you're sending out emails to remind them, then you need to make sure you got those links in there. Okay. Nick, did you have a question? No, I don't think so. Okay. If you have a question, Nick, just flag me down. Okay. All right. So we'll keep going and let me keep showing you what we got here. So we did everything on this one. So we'll go to the next one, which is content. And this is actually my favorite area because this is the different ways that you can do this webinar. So we already know about the streaming tool, right? So that allows you to stream live to Facebook or live to YouTube. Now, what I do is if I have one of my webinars that I use for live streaming, then I don't use it for anything else. Remember I told you that I've got my live streaming one named Recurring Webinar, and that is the one I use every time to do a live stream to Facebook or YouTube. So it's exclusively used to live stream. Because if I choose a different way to do this webinar, then I'm locking it in to that different way, whether it's a live webinar on a page or if it's a evergreen webinar that's a replay or something like that. So I need to make sure that it's either live or it's something else, the content's from somewhere else, okay? The next thing that I can do is disable controls, which means the forward button, the go backwards button, the play and the pause are not there. So those controls are disabled, and I usually don't do that because it really irritates me to be watching a webinar and not be able to go forward if it's a recorded webinar. So it's kind of up to you whether you want to disable the controls. Now, if you have a timed webinar, where, 10 minutes into the webinar, the button shows up, then you definitely want to disable the controls so that they can't go forward and they're already watched the whole thing by the time that the button shows up. So you have to kind of consider what you're doing with your webinar to decide if you're going to disable the controls or not. And then the next one is content from. And if you click that, here's where you can get your content from. So you can get your content from a YouTube URL. So you get the YouTube link. You can also do an iframe. And this is where you can actually get the iframe from the YouTube channel. So you can iframe it straight from the YouTube stream. So every time you go live, it will go live for you in your page that you add this webinar to. So you can actually do an iframe as well. You can upload a video from your computer, which means anything you've got on your computer, you can upload and make it into a webinar. And then you can go into my recorded webinars, where if you choose to record a webinar, it will record it onto the platform. And then you can choose from your recorded webinars that you have available on the platform. Okay. So if you go into my recorded webinars, you can see that I've done a couple recordings. So I could actually choose those recordings and use those for future webinars. Right. So that's content. And I'll just choose my recorded webinars. That sounds good. So that's the content area. And the next one is schedule. So you want to make sure you list the duration in minutes of your webinar. So I would say that my webinar is going to be 60 minutes, and that's a lie because I always keep you guys for about 2 hours. And then you choose how you want to schedule it. So do you want it on demand, as in they choose to go to that page and Shazam, it's on demand? Do you want to start it by a button, as in you start the webinar by clicking a button and the webinar starts? That's usually the way you do it if you're doing it by a certain time that you want in control of when it starts. Maybe you've got a fluctuating time that you can start, so you can do it by a button. And when you click that button, it starts the webinar. Or you can do start by time, as in I want it to start Tuesday at 12 o'clock noon, exactly 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. So you can choose any one of these. So if you start by button, there's the button right there. You have admin control. You click start and the webinar starts. Or you can do start by time, and then you choose the time that it starts. And you can choose local time or UTC. So I actually, oh wow, I made money again, yummy. So you can actually choose a specific time that when it starts, and then the time string, you can actually see it right here of when it all is going to start. So watch that closely to make sure it's starting the exact time that you want it to start. My suggestion is that you go to UTC time. That way you'll have a standard time that it'll start, and everybody will be able to understand that. So that's the schedule of when your webinar is going to start. Remember that on demand is what you would use to do evergreen. Okay, on demand is what you would do to do an evergreen. All right, next we have chat, and this is enabled chat. You can also do pre-moderation, and for this one, that means that when it's live, the chat messages will not show up unless you approve them. So this is actually kind of important sometimes, especially if you have a lot of haters out there that are going to come in and try to just ruin your day. You can actually pre-moderate and make sure that you're watching these before they go live, appearing on chat. And you can actually not allow some chats to go live. You can also choose to save the history of your chat so that you keep it and you can see all the chats for every single webinar. And then choose to clear comments every 24 hours. So if you want every 24 hours, every 24 hours, it's brand new comments starting from scratch, you can do that. So those are those items right there. The next one, and this is another one of my favorites, and I know Tyree really likes this as well, and that is ghost users. So these are not the type of ghost users that are like running around to all your people going boo. It's actually a way to create engagement in your webinar, especially if you're doing an evergreen webinar. So let's go ahead and talk about these ghost users. I'm going to go ahead and click edit, and that takes me into where I can add my ghost users. So right here, it wants to know what time from the start. So hours, minutes, and seconds. So maybe 10 seconds into the webinar, I want to have somebody jump in and tell me their username. So username is Bob. And maybe I say, hey, you guys, I want everybody to jump in and tell me who you are and where you're from. So we're going to say Bob from Alabama. There we go. And I'm going to click add. So now Bob from Alabama is going to jump in 10 seconds. And in the chat, you're going to see Bob from Alabama. If I don't like that, I can delete it. I can edit it so I can make any changes that I want to. And I can continue to add ghost users. So let me tell you about the value of ghost users. On the surface, it sounds like it's kind of cheating, right? If you kind of think about it on the surface, you're like, that's like misrepresenting yourself, that people are actually there. But what happens on a webinar is if there's no activity in the chat, then people are kind of afraid to be active and say things, right? They're like, I don't want to be the first one to jump in there and speak because I may say something wrong, or I mean, these are real things that people think about. So when you add those ghost users and they're actually engaging in your conversation on your evergreen webinar, what that does is that makes the people that are watching the webinar feel more comfortable jumping in and engaging. Now, it would be dishonest if you added something like, I just bought 10. that would be dishonest. But go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, at events, they actually have people that stand up, you know, and they're selling something, and they just get people in the mood, because you're right, people that are too scared to do the first movement. So they've got events, most events, they all have them. Russell Brunson, Grant Cardone, they all have people that get up, the 5, 6 of them, whatever it may be, that get up first and just starts the engagement going.
Right, you know, and that's the whole idea behind the ghost users. When I first heard of ghost users, being brand new to that idea, I was like, well, that's kind of tricky. But now that I'm in digital marketing and I understand the hesitation that people have to even jump in and participate, it's just a way to help people feel more comfortable to engage and participate. So you'll never see on any of my webinars, Shelly, I bought 10 of them. Your product is great. That's not the kind of thing that you'll see. But you may see something like, if I say, hey, you guys, tell me your name and where you're from. I might have a couple of ghost users that jump in and say a name and where they're from to kind of give that indication that it's great to jump in there and give me your name and where you're from. Or I might say a question like, hey, you guys, if you had your choice, would you rather have the red one or the blue one? And I might have the ghost user jump in at that point and say something like, I think I would like the blue one. And that would prompt the users to maybe want to jump in and give their opinion as well. And you guys know this. I know you know this. People don't want to give their opinion if nobody else is giving their opinion because they're afraid that their opinion is wrong. So you want to help to give them encouragement to jump in there and participate and engage. That way they are engaged with your webinar and they are paying attention to what's going on and you have their attention. So it just kind of helps that process. Gabriel?
Yeah, would you also put, to make it more look real, just an idea? If you say, would you like the red or the blue? And have some guy say, I like orange, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to put that in there, yeah. And then have a comment in the webinar that says, well, we don't have orange, but we do have red and blue, right? So it sounds like you're participating with that person, you're commenting on that person's comment. So yeah, it's all, you want to create that that engagement because that's what's going to get your people engaged. And you guys probably know this, but you don't know that you know this. And that is, you want people in your webinar to feel safe to engage, right? I don't know how many webinars you guys have been on, but every time I go to a webinar and they ask a question, my hands do like this. Should I answer? Should I not answer? Right? And everybody does that because they're just not sure if they should engage. If you've got those ghost users, that helps them to feel safe to engage.
Because I see that I see it on a lot of webinars, you know, and it's so cliche. Hey, what's your name? Everybody, and then it is like a robot. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh yeah, it's all fake. But if you make it like that, then people look like, oh, wait a minute. I think this is real. This is live. You know.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And you don't want to purposely mislead them. Remember, the goal is to make it safe for them to engage. So you don't want to have 52 ghost users telling you their name and where they're from, right?
Now,
have a few,
I actually
set that prompt, and then go from there. Go ahead, Davida.
Yeah, when I took part in the WBEX thing, they use Zoom, and it's like they would ask questions, but then what they would do is it would be a poll, so that it would encourage you to participate rather than have you just answer one question.
Right. And that is one thing you can do with a live one on Zoom, but we can't do polls yet on our webinar. So, so you can ask a question during your evergreen webinar and have ghost users answer it a few different ways so that it will prompt the users to put their input in as well. So it's just an idea to kind of help create engagement without being like dishonest. Tyree?
So while we're on the question section, I had a question when you were in the content part of the webinar creation. When you had mentioned that we have an iframe, we can iframe this. What I wanted to know is that could we iframe this live? Could we do a webinar? Would build our webinar live through our own page, like one of the HTML frame frames to our own page?
You wouldn't really iframe a page. This is an iframing of a video.
Right.
So you can iframe a video from YouTube, just get the iframe code, or you can iframe your channel so that every time you go live, it's going to display that live to your page. That's exactly what we do with that weekly webinar, is we have it iframed in so that, and it has the channel ID, so that when you go to that weekly webinar page, if we're live on YouTube, you're going to see it.
Okay, I'm going to see about doing that, because I would also like to have a page, you know, my home page to where when I go live, because that'll always be on the internet. And with our webinar system being able to do that, that would be a gigantic bonus.
It is huge. Let me tell you some applications of that. And that is, let's say that you've got a Builderall team and you want to do training for your team. You can set up a membership area for your team. The only way they can get in is if they have a username and password. And then you have a broadcast live training page. And they get in, they go to that live training page. It's set up to iframe to your live stream for YouTube channel. And then every time you go live, you can actually let them know, hey, we're doing training in our broadcast area, jump in and check it out. And they get live training from your YouTube channel straight into that page. Really cool stuff. So there's so many neat ways to do it. Honestly, it's really, really cool. So let me keep going, you guys. So I'm going to jump into share. And so we talked about ghost users, and they are very easy to set up, but you just want to make sure that the timing works out so that whatever you're saying on your webinar is happening at the same time as the ghost users. Because obviously you wouldn't want to say, you wouldn't want to be talking about under basket water weaving, and then all of a sudden somebody jumps in and says, hey, I really like that poodle video that you did, and you haven't even mentioned that poodle video yet. So just make sure the timing's correct and that you're being engaging. You want to make sure you're encouraging engagement, not being dishonest with purchases or how much money you've made or something like that. I've seen what to me are obvious ghost users on webinars that say things like, I'm Susie and I made $5,000 with this program and you can too, right? It's fake. So don't put fake stuff in there. Put stuff in there that is encouraging engagement, because that's what the ghost users are all about. Okay. Once you've created them, you just click save and they're actually ready to go. Also right here on the chat height, you can decide how big you want the chat on your broadcast page. This is 15%. I think the one that I like to do is 30%. So it takes up 30% of the page and messages. So it's a pretty long box. So that's how you set up that area, which is the chat area. The next one is statistics. And this is what you look at after your webinar is over. So it'll tell you how many people were there, how many people that signed up that weren't there, if you have the registration set up, how many people didn't attend, how many people left before you ended, how many people made it all the way to the end, and then financial, how much money did you make for your webinar if you set up some kind of sales, which I've never done the financial part yet, so I'm not sure how that works, but hopefully I'll get more information about that later. The next one is Mailing Boss. This is another fabulous tool that we have inside here. So we have import standard rules, edit standard rules, or add a new scheduled rule. So import standard rules means that you can import some pre-made emails already. So if I click that, it's going to go in and ask me which mailing boss list. So I'll just put it to the language I'm using. And then the send from email, I'll do it from Shelly or Tony at builderalldiva.com. That's one of my registered emails. So I'll click save. And what it does is it pulls in all of those emails for me. These are pre-made emails. You don't have to do anything at all if you don't. So 1 day before, it sends this out. 4 hours before, it sends this one out. 1 hour before, it sends this one out. 1 minute before, it sends this one out. And then after 3 hours, 3 hours after the webinar, it's going to send out the replay. So all of these right here are very important that you put the live link in that other area where I did edit webinar, because all of these need that live link. And then the replay, that's important. Remember, 3 hours that you have to get that replay link in there. So you can grab the replay link and actually put it in the email. Any of those emails you can edit by just clicking edit. And that will take you into the email editor where you can work on it. And if you'll notice, we have some tags that we can work on. So you can actually grab any of these tags and put them in. This one says, hey there, F name. I wanted to send you a quick reminder of the webinar tomorrow. And then it has the webinar title. And then webinar host, date, time, and the live link. That's the important one right there. And remember, it's getting it from that other area that we talked about. So you can edit any of that you want to. Also notice that it's got the email signature in there. Remember, I filled that out by putting in Shelly Builderall Diva Turner. So it will put that tag in there for me. You can edit any of this. You can take these out. You can put them in, whatever you want to do. And then there's my send from email. So you can see that I can change just about anything I want. I can also change when this goes out. By default, this one's set up to go out 1 day before, but maybe I want it to go 2 days before. So I can just change that to 2. I can change the subject name. So there's a lot of stuff I can change in here. And then once I change to what I want it to be, I just click save. And everything's been changed. And this one says you chose on-demand schedule method. Currently creating mailing box rule will not work with the on-demand. And that's a key that I want you to understand is on demand is not going to get the email sent out. It's going to be the live webinar that's going to get the email sent out. On demand is when they go to the page and it just starts the webinar right away. So for this particular instance, because I chose on demand, the emails won't be sent out because it's not set up to send for on demand. But anyway, I have control over all of these emails. I can delete any of them. So if I don't want it to go out 1 hour before, but I do want it to go out 1 minute before, I can just delete this email. Let's say there's not enough emails. I can actually add another email. So add a new scheduled rule. I just pick when I want it to go out. I edit it the way I want it to, the from email, and then I click save, and it will add another email to the list. Also, these standard rules, I can edit them anytime I want to by clicking edit, and I can go in and create a new category, add a new scheduled rule, and actually create an entire new list of standard rules that I can use for this particular webinar. So lots of power that you have in setting up your Mailing Boss email autoresponder so that for live webinars, you have the emails going out in a sequence to make sure they're reminded of their webinar. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and make sure you guys got all of that. Tyree and then Gabriel.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. Now, I know that we're doing this live and some people may not have seen this, but when they're going to see it, please help me if I'm wrong. With what we have now, we can schedule a webinar and we also can have an email list that we can add. And as you mentioned, pre-written emails. Now, I didn't hear you mention a secret weapon we have called script generator. Will that write those emails like that? Because I haven't checked out, I play with the script generator, but when it comes to, I know it writes webinar scripts and things like that, but I have not played with it or dissected it to know if it would write those like pre-scheduled web emails and things like that. So right now I'm seeing myself, you're saving me a lot of life, okay?
Yeah. So here's what happens is that those email sequences are very generic. The ones that are automatically in there, the standard rules are very generic. So this is going to basically say your webinar is at this time. Here's the name of the webinar. Here's the live link. Congratulations. We can't wait to see you, right? This is very, very basic. So if you want something more involved, then you can go to the script generator and it does do emails for you, webinar-based emails. So you can go and grab those emails, put them in there and edit however you want to. And then that sequence will be available for those people that are going to that live webinar. So yes, you can do that with the script generator.
So anyone that's watching this replay, we also have everything you need, even a webinar script generator for those people that may not understand may not have the skill set yet to write their own emails.
That's right. Absolutely. And the script generator actually does really good emails. And let me tell you a trick. You can spend hours going through that avatar, trying to set the avatar up. My trick is just to put XX in all of the boxes. And then in every box has to be completed. So you have to do that for everything. And then once you put XX in there and then you run it, it will spit out a good email with the XX in there. So you can add the pain points and stuff like that into the email, but it'll put the main idea of the email in there so you can have a pretty good start to that email. And then you don't have to painstakingly go through all of that avatar setup in the very beginning.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was going to play with that this evening when I go to the hospital to be with my daughter, but now I have something I can do. I'm going to play with that. So thank you for that training. I'm going to do that. And again, this is at no additional cost by Builderall.
That's right. You got to love them. All right. Who else had a question? Gabriel. Gabriel and then Mike.
So for just clarification, I would have to go and create 3 different types of email sequence, one for recorded webinar, one for on-demand, and one for live webinar?
Actually, the emails are there already. You're just pulling them in and activating them for that webinar.
What do you mean? Is it already in my Mailing Boss right now?
Yeah, when I pull them and activate them, they're ready to go. I attach them.
It was just a template basically. So you just pulled it for the webinar. I got you. So it's the template, but then I have to go edit it. Oh, great.
Yeah, if you want to change any of them, they're real generic, right? They're just like, here's your webinar. Don't forget. Here's the link.
Oh, okay. So it's just, oh, wow. It's even better than I thought. I got to go back and redo it and then pull the list it also.
No,
awesome.
you pick the list that you want it to go to. And then, so you might have, underwater basket weaving webinar subscriber list, right? You attach it to that webinar, and then anybody that registers for that webinar is going to be on that list, and they're going to get those emails.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, wow. Great. And then back to your script generator that you mentioned a minute ago. If I do the XXX, would it give me the same exact type of script if I took the time to put the keywords in there, or the exact, would the script be different or no?
It'll be different, because as you're doing the script generator, you're telling the script generator about your avatar. They're 35 to 45 years old, they're female, here's their pain points, here's their goals, blah, 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 blah. And it takes that stuff and puts it in. So if you only put XXX, it's going to put XXX in there, but it gives you great wording that it would put in there anyway. So when you get that kind of a template version that has the XXX in, you can actually then add whatever you want in there for the XXX, because it's already kind of built the emails for you without the pain points, without all the stuff that you have to put in for your avatar. So it's a really, really fast way of getting the script generator to work for you.
Right. So it wouldn't be, my question being is that wouldn't be different if I put the avatar as a truck driver versus a teacher, right? The script wouldn't be different. It's just I'm just gonna put in the XXX truck driver and the teacher.
It doesn't spin it very much. It just has the right wording to create an exciting email or an exciting webinar script or an exciting phone script or something like that. So it's a great way to get the beginning of an email. Great way. It's a lot better than sitting in front of your computer going, all right, how am I going to write this email out? I'm not real sure. This gives you a jumping off point, and then you can add whatever pain points you want to in there, or whatever you want in there to kind of spruce it up. But the script generator does a great job of getting you started.
I know it's coming up, and I don't mean to spill out the beans or whatever. It's coming out in the agency, So
yeah. The script generator is fabulous. If you're not using it yet, you definitely want to test it out. Michael, question, comment?
Sorry, yeah. The other thing I was going to ask you is I doing my webinar. I went to go and launch it, and the bloody internet was down, and I was building it up. So frustrating. But I was wondering if I had this on a bloody recurring evergreen, it would have been better. But you guys have been using in the past on the webinar platform live through Zoom. Is it YouTube and then straight to the Zoom YouTube, then into the webinar platform?
Correct. That's that iframe that I was talking about, that we iframe the channel in. So when we take the webinar platform and we iframe the YouTube channel, then anytime we go live, which when we use Zoom, we can go live to YouTube, it captures that live in the webinar platform and presents the live YouTube channel just exactly if you were watching it on YouTube. But it's actually better because you've got a broadcast room. You've got a page with your design, your stuff on there, your chat on there, and all that kind of stuff.
But there's a 15-second delay. Is that right? I presume.
But yeah, it's like 5 or 10 seconds. I don't think it's 15 seconds because that's pretty long. It's like a 5 or 10 second delay. So you don't want to be watching them at the same time or listening to them at the same time, because you will stumble over your words like the whole time.
Especially if you've got ghosts.
Right. So what I do is I always have the live open, but I have it muted so that I can't hear it. That way I can flip back and forth and make sure it's still live and still going. But I'm not hearing it, so I don't start tripping over my words.
So how stable is this at the minute? Because I know they were looking at a certain number of people is limited out. I use Zoom at the minute. I've got the extra paid platform. I think we both upgraded at the time because the webinar wasn't launched at the time.
Right.
Now it's launched. Is it fair to say I could scrap Zoom? But Zoom's got a lot of potential in other things as well. You can use it for. I like the live.
The biggest thing that Zoom's got over the webinar platform right now is that right here with you guys on Zoom right now, I have lots of people. We have 4 times 4, 16, 17 people And with Builderall webinar, I can have up to 6 people that are panelists. So that's the major limitation right now, but the developers are working on a more efficient way to bring in those participants so that we can have more. So this is just a natural progression that we're going to get the ability to have more speakers for sure. And it will be a much more efficient way of being able to use these servers. And you missed the very beginning, Michael, but when we start a new webinar, especially if we're going live, we want to make sure that the server usage is really low because, and there's 3 different servers you can choose from, because if someone's already on one of the servers, like say USA 1, and it's using 25 to 30% of the server capacity, then if you jump on with your people, then it's going to jump on to over 50%, which means you're going to slow down and they're going to slow down. So you always want to make sure you look at the server capacity. And if the server that you're getting on has any kind of usage that's 25 to 30% or more, then just switch servers. And that way you have the ability to make sure you're choosing the best server for your webinar. And 6 is not going to break the server by any stretch of the imagination. And then all the rest are going to be attendees. So what they're doing is they're just bringing video out. They're not sending video in and then bringing video out. So that's a lot less capacity on the bandwidth.
Yeah. My only thing is like, it's not been used enough, is it yet? Still, really, even by the team.
I think we're so comfortable with Zoom, with having multiple presenters.
Yeah, I agree.
That people jump in and use Zoom probably a lot faster. But I've used the live webinar part. I've used the recording part. I've definitely used the live to Facebook and live to YouTube part. And all of that works fabulous for me. I do know that Marco was doing a live not too long ago and it kind of crashed on him because he had so many. But I don't think that that's necessarily negative on Builderall. It just means he had a whole bunch of users all hitting it at the same time.
Yeah.
And even Zoom does that. We've shut down Zoom ourselves. So I wouldn't call it a limitation. I would call it another challenge. Just make sure that we have the server capacity to handle all of that.
It's a free bloody platform.
It's really good.
And 6
Basically
panels.
That's right.
Yeah, panelists is plenty for a lot of people. Maybe not for like doing a big fat sale, but definitely promoted stuff. So people could go and press the button to buy.
Yep, I mentioned earlier, Michael, that George is pretty new with us. He's not been with us but just a few weeks. And George would actually be the perfect candidate to jump in there and start using the webinar to do Facebook Lives, to do YouTube Live. Hello, which means that the stream health is not my internet connection that's giving a little bit of grief. But you can see that I'm live and I can put Felicity on the webinar. So if I go to the stream tool right here and I go right here and send her to the main stream, she's actually going to be the main one on that video, even though she doesn't have her video on. But she should actually start showing in just a second on the live stream because I made her the main video. So here we go. There we go. Oh, and we're actually already live streaming, so I think that's why it's giving us grief. But because we're already doing live streaming on YouTube, so it won't let us live stream twice. So that's what's going on. And this is actually just the independent one person so that he can start getting used to getting out there and doing lives and getting his face out there and getting his content out there and giving value, being seen and heard. And that, without having to buy Zoom to do that, he's able to get out there and start branding himself and getting seen and heard and giving out that value, and he'll start growing really, really quickly. So for the new user that maybe isn't ready to jump into Zoom and have 100 people on a webinar, this is perfect. It is absolutely perfect.
And Zoom can really add up, can't it? It can really, if you get all the, I've got the webinar options and all that. Yeah, it can.
That's right.
Really,
George, I think you had a question for me.
Just in terms of mail deliverability.
It is way better. When we started with Builderall a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago now. Email deliverability was very difficult to get it into the inbox. But Builderall has really worked on the deliverability by creating new IP addresses, new servers, a massive amount of servers actually, and they've been able to manage it a lot better. They make sure that everybody has double opt-in lists, so they've got better lists. They're limiting the amount of imports that you can do, so that people aren't bringing in like 10,000 subscriber lists that they actually scraped. And when you get a scraped list, that's a bad list. It's going to have a lot of bounces and stuff, which of course gives the server a bad reputation, and that automatically from that IP address gets them shipped into spam. So they've done so much to be able to get the reputation of the servers up, the reputation of the domains up, and now deliverability is better than it's ever been. So I'm really, really proud. We did a email marketing boot camp, and we walked through how to set up our emails and deliver. And I think everybody was surprised how stuff was getting into the inbox so easily, even with a brand new domain.
Okay.
So way, way better. Absolutely. That was a good question, actually. So let me continue to jump in, and we'll go through a few more settings. So this mailing boss is fabulous. Now, right here, you've got a button that says change mailing boss API keys. If you've been into Mailing Boss, you know that there's a public key and a private key for Mailing Boss. If this is not connecting correctly, or if you want to go off of somebody else's account, you can actually change the API keys, and the email will come off of somebody else's account. So this is a really interesting way to cross accounts to be able to get emails to go out. This is kind of an advanced one, so use it sparingly for sure, and definitely test, retest, and test again before you actually do this for a live webinar, okay? The next one is Mailing Boss Tracking. This is another valuable tool. You can enable this, and then there's a integration key and a reference key that you have to get from Mailing Boss, and that will allow you to actually track what's going on with Builderall, and you can do tags and all kinds of neat stuff. So Mailing Boss Tracking, again, that's a little bit advanced. We probably won't go into that here, but that would be a really good advanced boot camp for sure. And then the next one is translation, and this allows you to translate some of the standard words that you have inside of your webinar. So for the word send, if you were translating all of this to French, then you would put the French word for send in there. For write a message, you would translate that into French. For log in, you would translate that into French. So you could actually translate this into a different language and be able to have your webinar ready for a different language. So right here, where one might say webinar not started yet, instead of having that in English, you could put that in any language that you wanted. So you can actually translate this webinar into another language if you really wanted to, okay? And all that's involved with building your broadcast page and setting up your own website and web page for your broadcast. And we'll go into that more tomorrow. All right, so we've gone through all of the settings. We'll actually set up completely a website with a webinar tomorrow, and we'll actually see if it works. Okay, so what's your homework tonight? Your homework tonight is to do a live and invite a guest speaker with you. That's your homework tonight. So you can go either to Facebook or to YouTube. It doesn't matter. If you want to do both, you get 2 gold star stickers. But your homework tonight is only one. Yeah, George, you got 2 today. You did really good.
No, in my head.
In your head. But yes, definitely go Facebook or YouTube and invite a guest speaker, and you guys talk a little bit live. And I want you to practice flipping them between them being the main speaker or doing the split screen. Main speaker, split screen. That way you can kind of get comfortable with that. Also remember to share your screen so you can see how to do that, and also use that whiteboard so you can see how to do that. So just do a quick live webinar with somebody on Facebook or YouTube, invite somebody as a guest speaker, put them in as the main speaker, split the screen, share your screen, and use that whiteboard. Do all of those, and if you'd like to invite me to watch, I would love to watch. Just send me a link and I'll jump in and watch. All right, everybody got it? Any questions before we go? Michael's like, I think I'm a little nervous. You totally got this, dude. You got this. All right, you guys, if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. You guys did fabulous again today. Wait, Haris, do you have a question?
How can we watch the first day?
I'm gonna put it up right now. I didn't have a chance to yesterday because I went straight through with meetings and trainings. So I will get it up right now and you can start the first one. So give me about 30 minutes to get it up and added, and then you should be ready to go.
Because the replay, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, the replay button takes you to the YouTube organic.
I have to set up the inside of it. So you're right. It takes you to the YouTube organic.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Gabriel, go ahead, and then I'll do Michael.
Yeah, are you going to also add that iframe code?
Yes.
All right.
Yep, I got it. I got it ready for you. Michael.
Just a quick one. This training that I just saw your link come through. There's so many trainings out now.
I know.
And I'm in and out of hospital and things going on at the minute. So I'm trying my best to kind of keep up with things. So we've got the agency one, which there's a bit of a break on the agency one. Is that right? Am I right on that one?
Yes. All this week.
Yep, cool. And so your trainings are Tuesdays or every day?
The best way to find out, Michael, is to go to the event calendar, and that's in the dashboard. So let me take you there real quick.
Okay.
I'll show it to everybody just in case. So on the Builderall dashboard right here, you'll just go to the Builderall Business. Mine says Ambassador, but you'll go to Builderall Business. And then right here is the event calendar. And you just click that. And when you click that, it comes up with the event calendar. And that's got everything that I know about. And I update this as much as I can to make sure it's as accurate as possible. But for this week, it shows you everything that we've got going on. And for the boot camp, you can see that there's actually a click here on the desktop version. If you're on desktop, you can click here and it will allow you to join the live Zoom. And so you can click right there. There's also a mobile version, but the clickable links don't work on the mobile because I cheated. And instead of recreating the boxes in the mobile, I just took an image of that week and put it in there. So the links don't work on the mobile, but on the desktop, all the links actually work. Also on the event calendar, you've got the social media planner. So if you're just not real sure what to post on social media, you can actually get some ideas here. And each day I've just got a different idea. Do you have to do what's on there? Absolutely not. But if you want to have an idea of what to do, you can get some neat ideas from the social media planner. And I update that about every 3 weeks. I give you a whole brand new calendar to work with, including the social media stuff. So that's just a way to keep you updated with what's going on in Builderall, with all events, all training, and all meetings, and also some ideas on social media planning. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
Thank you. I'm going to shoot, and I think everyone else is going, but bye-bye. Take care, and thank you again.
Shelley, what is it at 8 o'clock, the live one? What is the...
That's the Builderall Live, and Brad was going to be doing that at 8 o'clock every single week.
Okay.
But I think since the agency's been going and he's been really busy, I don't think that he's stuck to that schedule. So I'm not entirely sure exactly what the schedule is. But that's the only one on there that I'm just not sure of.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't, because I haven't received any notification, and that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me take a look at the YouTube channel real quick. So right here, YouTube, and we'll switch over. Well, let me go to Builderall USA. There we go. And here's the Builderall USA channel. You can actually see here when he goes live. So we've got the new Barbie episode, so you definitely want to check that out. And then as far as the Builderall live episodes, I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm going to go to videos. And I don't think that he's been, I see the last one that was done was 4 days ago. So I think right now with agency going, and he's also getting a Roku channel set up and all that. So I think that he really was going to do it like 8 o'clock every single night. But I think it's just a little overwhelming right now. We're all kind of chasing our tail, getting stuff done.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any other questions, you guys? All righty, so I'm going to let you go. Just remember, tomorrow we're going to go ahead and build a website for a webinar, and we're going to build the actual webinar, and we're going to go in and we're going to test it to see if it actually works. Okay? All right, don't forget your homework, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Until then, I will see you all over the internet and all over Facebook. You guys have a fabulous day.
Thanks. Bye, Shelly. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.